Hello and welcome to day 4 of Unsourced Walt Screen's Carol-A-Thon. Today we're bringing you one of the Carol adaptations I've always seen recommended and I've always wanted to watch, but I never had the chance to. And I felt like, hey, if I'm doing this, better do it right. And that is 2013's An All-American Christmas Carol. And yes, it is very much one of those, typical this is American and we're set in modern day kind of ones. Younger cast, younger characters, and very much topical and socially focused. Like we're making, jokes about social satire situation. In this one's case, it is, trailer parks and trailer trash sort of aesthetics and environment. Our resident Scrooge here, played by Taryn Manning, is very much a trailer trash sort of mother and girlfriend in person. She's scrounging off people. She's scrounging off her ex-boyfriend. She's running scams, and she's basically using her kids as panhandling props. And she's very much just a overall terrible person. And I have to say, I enjoyed this one more than I thought I would. I like a lot of the changes. I like a lot of, how it portrays these iconic scenes in ways that make sense to the overall story, and that this is a Christmas Carol, while also staying true to, I guess, the characters they're building. It's not just very much a straightforward, this is Scrooge and we're following the same beats. Obviously it does, but I don't think that it harms the characters that they are trying to set up. Let's go over a couple of things I found the most interesting. The first of which is that Bob Cratchit and nephew Fred have been combined, and I have to say I really love this change, not only because it makes the Cratchits a more active part of Scrooge's life, but it does create a little bit more of a dynamic. There is a lot more love there. Bob/Fred made it out of the trailer park and is now successful, who lives in the suburbs, has a very modern middle-class family lifestyle. They do play the tension a lot. Tara Manning Scrooge is basically leeching off her brother, and he has to pick up the slack for her a lot. He has to go back for her with social services, with her kids, with her boyfriend, and I think that they do focus on that, and it's probably the most important plot line. It's the most important thing of all, honestly. There are other parts of this that I think really work. That's the one that gets the most attention. It does make this stand out as like, hey, we have a story to tell, we're just telling it in the format of a Christmas Carol, which is the best way to do it, honestly. Other things I really like is that they do really take into account that this Scrooge is a single mother. Initially, it's portrayed like very sort of stereotypically, like, of course, she has all these kids from different fathers and all that. But the dynamic that she has as a mother, and there's a parallel later on when the ghost of Christmas Future is the ghost of her own mother, and like what that means. I think it does try to show a lot of that emotional context with her, and maybe her inability to become self-aware. Like how much of that is her shielding herself from her own mistakes by using crutches and excuses. You do see this very nuanced complexity among a lot of the more very raunchy, very superficial, very shallow jokes. Because there's a lot of that in this. There's an element of shallowness to this that I wish wasn't there, but I understand is much necessary to the subgenre, because this is not only a Christmas movie, not only a Christmas Carol movie, a little bit more of a party movie at times. And that's a shame for a couple of things. Overall, I do think it does still manage to steer clear and keep true to its own message, which I really enjoyed. There are parts where I wish were a little more developed. You have all the ghosts basically being real ghosts of people that she has some connection to. You don't really get more information about that, and I wish they had been expounded upon, a little more delved into. The second ghost, Christmas Present, is honestly very funny, because this is the first time that Eric Roberts has been in a Christmas Carol movie, and I'm wondering, like, at least one that I've seen, like, why isn't he in all of these? Eric Roberts could possibly be in every single Christmas Carol movie you ever make, okay? I think he'd be up for it. But he plays a really fun Christmas present, and I think that he actually does a very nuanced and very sort of grounded performance in Christmas Present. Like, he does showcase that sort of warmth that Christmas Present has, even though he is so substantially different. He just portrays it in a slightly separate way that is very unique, but is also very true to source. And I really enjoy that. And I think his performance of any of the ghosts is probably my favorite. And lastly, you have Beverly D'Angelo as Ghost of Christmas Future, which, as I mentioned before, is Scrooge's deceased mother. There's a lot of irony and a lot of cynicism in this performance that, you know, allows her to really sort of take her daughter to task. And so having this mother-daughter relationship really does add a new layer to things that I think was unexpected for me. And that I ended up really being satisfied by. Like, there is such a character core here that the movie does take such pains to preserve. Even if there are things about the movie that I don't like the humor of the movie, I don't like some of the aesthetics of the movie. Some of the characters are very one note. That still really remains, I think, one of the most effective character core, and I think that really does elevate this above some of the other stuff that, you know, seems a little bit more, you know, just skin deep. And I have to say, the biggest thing about this is I do love, and I love this about American Christmas Carol, the one with Henry Winkler. This is one of the ones where Scrooge does not necessarily change. He just learns a lesson that can be applied, you know? Where, yes, you know, he had this transformative experience and he's learned a lesson, but a lesson doesn't mean anything unless you know when and how to apply it. And so with the Henry Winkler one, and this one, you see the day after, and like, you know what? They're still getting on their feet. You know, it's not going to be instantaneous. It's not going to be magically they're doing all the right things. It's a little bit of regret. It's a little bit of trying to make up for past mistakes. It's a little bit of, you know, maybe stumbling a bit, stumbling on your feet. You're just learning to walk, and there's that aura of like maybe ambiguity there. And, you know, Ghost Girl in the Future even calls it out, like, you know, she can still mess up, you know, I'll bet on it, but there's still hope there. And that's what I love. And, you know, if you made a sequel to this kind of movie, I'd watch it. I'd want to see more how this character evolves. I want to see, like, a sequel to this, specifically about that character. Not even about Christmas, just showing, you know, where they are now. I would totally watch it because I was really invested in that. And I think that the movie does do a good job of getting you invested. Anyway, yeah, no, I enjoy this. There's a lot of other stuff in this that's pretty weird. This was a lot more fun than I expected. It is very hacky at times. I don't think if you want something that is going to be like so far removed and just so like gimmicky, and this is very gimmicky, you're not going to enjoy this one that much, but I really did. You know, so overall, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Let me know what you think below in the comments. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and see you again next time. Have a great day 4 of Christmas.